I woke up and the house was empty. There was no one, no sound of dishes, no smell of coffee, no voices of my son and daughter-in-law arguing in the kitchen about what to have for breakfast. Nothing. I walked barefoot down the hallway. The soles of my feet felt the cold of the hardwood floors I had chosen myself 20 years ago. When I built this house with the sweat of my work as a certified public accountant (CPA), I opened the living room door. The sofa was gone, as was the coffee table I inherited from my mother, and the floor lamp I bought in San Francisco the day I got my first promotion. I entered the empty dining room. The chairs, the oak table, the antique china cabinet where I kept the crystal glasses we only used at Christmas, everything had disappeared. My heart started beating so fast I felt the pulse in my temples. I ran to my bedroom. My bed was still there. My clothes, too. But when I opened the closet in the hallway, where I kept some documents, things were missing. I checked every corner of the house like a madwoman, the television, the paintings, even the terracotta planters on the patio. Where was everything? I grabbed my phone with trembling hands and dialed my son, Adam. Once, twice, 3 times. On the 4th ring, he answered. "Mom?" His voice sounded calm, almost cheerful. "Adam, where are you? What happened to the furniture? The house is—" "Oh, yeah, Mom. Sorry I didn't tell you sooner." He paused. "We sold some things. Well, several things." I felt the floor move beneath my feet. "What do you mean you sold my times things, my times furniture? Don't get upset, Ma. It's just—" I heard the voice of my daughter-in-law, Vanessa, laughing in the background. "It's just that Vanessa and I needed money urgently. We went to Paris. She always dreamed of going, you know? And well, you always say we should support each other as a couple, right?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Adam, that is my times house. Those were my times furniture pieces, things I bought with my work, with my—" "Oh, Mom, don't exaggerate," he interrupted me. "They're just material things. Besides," his voice turned almost childish, "she deserves Paris, Mom. Vanessa has done a lot for me. You always tell us that family comes first." I closed my eyes. The line went dead. He had hung up. I stood in the middle of that empty living room, holding the phone as if it were the only real thing I had left. In that moment, something inside me broke. But I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't call the police. I smiled. Because in that empty silence, in that echo bouncing off the undecorated walls, I made a decision that would change everything. My name is Sarah Anderson. I am 58 years old. I worked for 30 years as an accountant to give my son a dignified life. I became a widow 10 years ago, and this house, every nail, every tile, every window, I raised it alone. And what my son and that woman had just done would not go unanswered. But it wouldn't be revenge. It would be justice. And when they returned from Paris, 15 days later with their suitcases full of photos and souvenirs of the Eiffel Tower, I would have a gift ready for them. A gift Vanessa would never forget. One that would make her faint. Have you ever trusted someone you love too much, only to have them betray that trust? Tell me your story in the comments. I want to read it. Sometimes the deepest wounds come from those we love the most. But let me tell you how this all started. 2 years ago, my house wasn't empty. It was full of life. I would wake up every day at 6 a.m. I brewed fresh coffee with a cinnamon stick, the same way my mother taught me when I was a girl. The aroma would waft through the house like a warm hug. Then I'd put toast in the toaster and make scrambled eggs with bacon. My house smelled like a home. I lived alone since I became a widow, but I didn't feel lonely. I had my job at the accounting firm, my friends from the book club on Thursdays, my plants on the patio that I watered every afternoon while listening to the distant traffic of the suburbs. It was a quiet, dignified life. Mine. One Saturday in March, Adam arrived with a large suitcase and some news. "Mom, can we stay here for a while?" He was 32 years old, but in that moment, he looked like a frightened child. "Stay? Who is we?" Vanessa and I lost the apartment. The landlord sold it, and they gave us only a month to get out. "We're looking for something, but rent is crazy expensive right now, Ma. It would only be a few months." How could I say no? He was my only son, the son for whom I had worked double shifts when his father died, the son I managed to send to college by working extra hours during tax season. "Of course, my love. This is your home." The next day, Vanessa arrived tall, pretty, with that straight brown hair she always kept perfect. She wore designer clothes and spoke with an affectation that tried to sound more sophisticated than she was. "Thanks, Sarah," she told me, and hugged me with a perfume so strong it stung my nose. "You're an angel. I don't know what we'd do without you." No one had called me just Sarah without a Mrs. or aunt in years, but I smiled because my son looked at her as if she were the most important thing in the world. At first, everything was bearable. I kept waking up early. I made breakfast for the three of us. Vanessa would come down at 10 a.m., always in silk pajamas, and say, "Oh, Sarah, you shouldn't have bothered." But she would sit down and eat 3 eggs with toast. Adam went out to look for work. He returned in the afternoon tired, frustrated. The economy was tough, he said. No one was hiring. I would make him chamomile tea and say, "Have patience, son. Something will come up." Vanessa didn't look for work. She stayed home watching series on my television, using my living room, my dishes, my Wi-Fi, but I didn't say anything because family comes first. That's what I was taught. And if my son loved her, I had to accept her too. Months passed. 1, 2, 6. They were still there. I stopped using the living room because it was always occupied. Vanessa watched TV until 3 a.m. When I left for work at 7 a.m., she was still sleeping with the TV on. My electricity bill doubled, but I didn't say anything. One day I arrived from work and found 3 of Vanessa's friends in my dining room drinking white wine from the crystal glasses that belonged to my mother. "Sarah!" Vanessa shouted. "Look, meet the girls. We're having a business meeting. We're going to start an organic makeup business." I smiled, said hello, and went to my room. I heard their laughter until 11 p.m. Adam was finally working. He had gotten a job at an electronics store. It wasn't what he had studied for, but it was something. He arrived tired, and Vanessa would tell him, "Babe, I can't cook today. I have a headache. Let's ask your mom." And Adam would look at me with those puppy dog eyes that I couldn't refuse, so I cooked. After working 9 hours, I cooked for the 3 of us, and they ate in the living room watching Netflix while I washed the dishes. But still, when Adam hugged me and said, "Thanks, Mom, you're the best," I felt it was all worth it because he was happy. And if he was happy, I could endure anything. Or so I thought. Until one afternoon I came home early from work. I entered the house quietly because I had a headache, and I heard voices in my bedroom. In my bedroom. I went up slowly. The door was ajar, and what I saw changed everything. Vanessa was going through my jewelry box. Not the one I left on the vanity that was the one everyone saw, where I kept costume jewelry and bracelets of no value. No. She was going through the mahogany jewelry box my husband gave me for our 10th anniversary, the one I kept in the back of the closet, wrapped in a blue silk scarf, the one no one was supposed to touch. Adam was standing next to her, hands in his pockets. "See?" Vanessa said. "Your mom has things she doesn't even use. Look at this ring." When was the last time she put it on? She held in her hand the engagement ring Robert gave me 35 years ago. A solitaire. Small, simple, but one he bought by selling his bicycle. That ring was the only thing I had left of him. "I don't know." Adam sounded uncomfortable. "I don't think she'd like that." "Oh, babe, don't be silly." Vanessa laughed. "If we sell it, we could pay the down payment on a condo. Don't you want us to have our own space? Or do you prefer living with your mom forever?" My heart beat so fast I thought they would hear me. Adam sighed. It's Dad's ring." "Exactly. Your dad's." "He's dead, Adam. She doesn't even use it. It just gathers dust stored away there." Vanessa closed the jewelry box with a snap. "Besides, your mom owes us. Look at us. Over 30 years old, and we still have nothing. And she has this huge house all to herself." That I owed them. I stood frozen in the hallway. "Okay." Adam's voice sounded weak. "Let me think about it." "There's nothing to think about." Vanessa walked toward the door, and I barely had time to hide in the bathroom. "Tomorrow when your mom goes to work, we'll take what we need. She won't even notice. And if she does notice, well, whatever. She's alone anyway. Who else does she have?" I heard their footsteps going down the stairs. I came out of the bathroom trembling. I entered my room. The jewelry box was there on the bed, open, my things rummaged through. The gold chain that was my mother's, the pearl earrings I wore on my wedding day, the bracelet Adam gave me when he turned 15 with his first paycheck from a summer job. Every object was a memory, and she wanted to sell them. I closed the jewelry box with shaking hands. I put it back in the closet, but I knew it was no longer safe. Nothing was safe. That night, I didn't eat dinner with them. I told them I had a headache. I locked myself in my room and cried for the first time in months. I cried for my husband, who was no longer here to defend me. I cried for my son, who listened to that woman without saying anything. I cried for myself for being so stupid, so naive, for having opened my house. The next morning I went out to work as always, but before leaving, I took my jewelry box and brought it with me. I locked it in my office desk drawer. When I returned that afternoon, Adam was watching television. "Hi, Mom," he said without turning to look at me. "Hi, son." I went up to my room. I opened the closet. The blue scarf was on the floor. They had looked for the jewelry box. They didn't find it, but they had looked. They knew what I had done. I went down to the kitchen. Vanessa was there eating grapes from my fruit bowl. "Hi, Sarah," she said with a smile. "How was your day?" "Fine, thanks." "Did you lose something?" she asked. And her eyes shone with something that wasn't kindness. It was a challenge. "No, why?" "For nothing." She popped another grape into her mouth, just asking. That night, while I was making dinner, I heard Vanessa talking on the phone in the living room. "Yes, Mom. I know. But the old lady is really stubborn. She doesn't want to sell anything." She laughed. "Don't worry, Adam is an idiot. He does whatever I tell him. Soon this house is going to be ours." I froze with the knife in my hand. The tomato I was slicing rolled off the table. Vanessa continued speaking. "Besides, if she doesn't want to cooperate, well, there are other ways. Adam is her only heir. It's just a matter of time." In that moment, I knew the truth. Vanessa wasn't there because she loved my son. Vanessa was there because she wanted my house, and she was willing to do whatever it took to get it, even get rid of me. As I tell all this, I wonder where you are listening to me now. In your kitchen? In your bedroom? Driving to work? Write the name of your city in the comments. I want to know I'm not alone in this. That night I didn't sleep. I lay looking at the ceiling, repeating Vanessa's words in my mind. Asterisk, it's just a matter of time. Asterisk, but when morning came, when I heard Adam getting up to go to work, when I saw him come down the stairs in his store uniform, I convinced myself I had heard wrong. Maybe she said something else. Maybe she was joking with her mom. Maybe I'm the one exaggerating. That's how denial works. It tells you the poison you just saw was only water. I got up, made coffee, made breakfast. Adam ate quickly, as always, kissed me on the forehead. "Thanks, Mom. You're the best." And I smiled as if nothing had happened. Vanessa came down at 11. She was wearing my robe, the pink silk one Robert gave me for our last anniversary. "Good morning, Sarah," she yawned. "Is there coffee left?" "Yes, on the stove." "Can you pour it for me? I'm still half asleep." I got up and poured her coffee. She sat at the table checking her phone without even looking at me. "Oh, by the way," she said without looking up, "some friends are coming over this afternoon. We're going to do a photo shoot for the business. Could you not be here? It's just that we need the whole living room and, it's kind of awkward with someone else here." She was asking me to leave my own house. "I have things to do here." "Oh, Sarah," she finally looked at me. "Don't be difficult. It's just 2 hours. Why don't you go to the mall or downtown? You haven't gone out in a while." She was right. I hadn't gone out in a while because every time I came home there was something to clean, laundry to do, food to prepare. "Okay," I said. "Thanks, I knew you'd understand." That afternoon I left my house. I walked through the mall without buying anything. I sat on a bench in the park and watched the pigeons peck at crumbs. I felt like them, picking up the scraps left for me. I returned at 7 p.m. Vanessa's friends had already left, but the house was a wreck. Dirty glasses in the living room, plates with food scraps in the dining room, candy wrappers on the floor. Vanessa was in her room with the door closed, talking on the phone. I cleaned everything without saying a word because that was what I did. Clean, cook, stay silent. The following days were the same. Vanessa asked for more and more. "Sarah, can you wash this blouse? It's delicate. You can't put it in the washer." "Sarah, can you lend me $50? I forgot my wallet. I'll pay you back Friday." She never paid me back. "Sarah, Could you sleep on the couch tonight? My cousin is coming from Chicago and has nowhere to stay. She needs your bed." And I said yes. I always said yes because I was afraid. Afraid that if I said no, Adam would get angry. Afraid they would leave and leave me alone. Afraid to admit that my only son had chosen her over me. Afraid of the truth. One afternoon, my friend Carol came to visit. We hadn't seen each other for months. We sat in the kitchen because the living room was occupied by Vanessa and her friends, Sarah. Carol looked at me with concern. "Are you okay? You look tired." "I'm fine. Do they still live here?" "Yes, but they're looking for an apartment." A lie. They weren't looking for anything. "I don't know how you stand them." Carol lowered her voice. "I can stand my daughter-in-law for 2 days and then I want to kick her out." We laughed, but my laugh sounded fake even to me. Carol left an hour later. Before leaving, she hugged me and whispered in my ear, "If you need me, call me any time." I didn't call her, because calling her would be admitting something was wrong, and I wasn't ready yet. Weeks passed. One Saturday, Adam asked me to go with them to the mall. "Vanessa wants to buy some shoes. Will you join us, Ma?" It had been a while since the three of us went out. I said yes. In the shoe store, Vanessa tried on 7 expensive pairs, designer brands. "Which one do you like more, Sarah?" she asked me. "The black one is nice." "Yeah, but the red is more times me asterisk." She looked in the mirror. "I'll take both." Adam took out his credit card. "Babe," he said in a low voice, "it's $400. I don't have that much." Vanessa stared at him. "Adam, it's my birthday in 2 weeks. Are you going to deny me this?" "No, but—" Adam looked at the floor, then looked at me, and I knew what was coming. "Mom, could you?" I took out my card. I paid for the shoes. Vanessa hugged me. "Thanks, Sarah. You're a sweetheart. I promise we'll pay you back." They never paid me back. On the way home, Vanessa was happy with her bags from the store, humming a song. Adam drove in silence. I sat in the back seat, invisible. That night, lying in my bed, I looked at myself in the vanity mirror. Who was that woman? With dark circles, dull hair, an empty gaze. Where was Sarah Anderson? The woman who built a career, who raised a son alone, who faced her husband's death with dignity. Where was she? And then, in the silence of the night, I heard voices in the kitchen. Adam and Vanessa. I got up barefoot, went down the stairs carefully. I don't like asking her for money all the time. It was Adam's voice. "Well, then get a better job," Vanessa responded with annoyance. "I'm not going to marry someone who earns peanuts." "Marry?" "Vanessa, we already talked about this. I can't get married right now. I don't even have money for the ring." "Exactly. That's why we need to sell things. Your mom has this huge house. Why don't we convince her to sell it and give us half? She's already old anyway. Why does she need so much space?" I stood petrified on the stairs. "I can't ask her that." "Of course you can." Vanessa moved closer to him. "Babe, think about our future, the children we're going to have. Do you want to raise them here with your mom breathing down our necks? She already lived her life. Now it's our turn." There was a long, eternal silence. "You're right," Adam said finally. And in that moment, something inside me woke up. It wasn't pain. It wasn't sadness. It was clarity. I didn't go up to my room. I stayed there on the stairs, in the dark, listening to how my son and that woman planned my life as if I no longer existed, as if I were a nuisance, an obstacle between them and their happiness. Finally, I heard their footsteps. They went to their room. The door closed. Only then did I go up. I entered my room and sat on the bed. I didn't turn on the light. I stayed there in the gloom with my hands in my lap. And for the first time in months, I didn't cry. Because there were no more tears. There was only a cold, clear question, sharp as glass. Asterisk, what else are they hiding from me? Asterisk. The next morning I got up before dawn. I didn't make coffee. I didn't make breakfast. I dressed in silence and left the house at 5:30 a.m. I drove to the office while it was still closed. I sat in my car outside and waited. At 7, Mr. Henderson, the senior partner, arrived. "Sarah, what are you doing here so early?" "I needed to get out of the house," I said simply. He didn't ask more. He opened the office and we went in. That day I worked like never before. I reviewed statements, organized invoices, did everything mechanically without thinking, because if I thought, I would crumble. I returned home at 8 p.m., later than usual. When I opened the door, the living room was dark, silent. I went up the stairs. The door to Adam's room was ajar. I heard voices. She's acting weird. It was Vanessa. Weird. How? She didn't even make us breakfast today. And look at the time. Where was she? Working, I guess. Exactly. Working. Vanessa paused. Did you know your mom has 2 savings accounts, one at Chase and another at Bank of America? My blood ran cold. How did she know that? How do you know that? Adam asked. I found the bank statements when I was cleaning her room. They're in her nightstand drawer. Adam, your mom has almost $85,000 saved. $83,000 to be exact. It was my retirement. The money I had saved for 30 years, dollar by dollar, sacrifice by sacrifice. It was all I had left for my old age. We can't touch that, Adam said, but his voice sounded weak. I didn't say we touch it. I said we know it exists. Vanessa lowered her voice. Look, I'm not saying we steal anything from your mom, but when she, is no longer here. Vanessa. It's the truth, Adam. We can't live our whole lives waiting. Your mom is already 58. She has high blood pressure. Have you seen how she gets out of breath when she climbs the stairs? I didn't smoke. I had never smoked in my life. Besides, Vanessa continued, legally you are her only heir. This house, her savings, everything is going to be yours. Ours. It's just a matter of, being patient. There was a silence. What if she doesn't want to leave me anything? Adam asked. What if she makes a will and leaves it all to a foundation or something? I hadn't thought of that. But now, that's why we have to make sure that doesn't happen, Vanessa said. You have to be closer to her, make her feel important, make her feel she needs you. Old women are like that. They love feeling useful. Asterisk, old women. Asterisk. That's what I was to her. An old woman. Not Sarah. Not the woman who had worked all her life. Not the mother who gave everything for her son. An old woman. An obstacle. Something she was waiting for to die. I moved away from the door, my legs trembling. I entered my room and locked it. I sat on the bed and opened the nightstand drawer. The bank statements weren't there. I always kept them in a manila folder, in the back of the drawer, under my scarves. They were gone. She had reviewed them, read them, knew exactly how much money I had, and she wanted it. The next few days were strange. Adam began to behave differently with me. He arrived early from work and asked, "How was your day, Mom?" He helped me set the table. He asked if I needed anything from the supermarket. He was following Vanessa's plan, making me feel important so I wouldn't change my will, and I acted as if nothing had happened. Thanks, son. That's so sweet of you. I smiled, cooked, talked about my day, but inside, I was no longer the same. One afternoon, while they were out, I did something I had never done. I searched their room. I opened drawers, checked their things. I looked for proof of what I already knew in my heart. In Vanessa's closet, I found new clothes, tags still on, expensive shoes, designer bags, all bought with money they didn't have. In the nightstand drawer, I found a notebook. I opened it. It was like a diary, but not of feelings. It was a plan. On the first page it said, asterisk, asterisk, Operation Homeowner, asterisk, asterisk. I felt the floor move beneath my feet. I turned the pages with trembling hands. Everything was there. Dates, strategies, objectives. Asterisk, March. Move in with Sarah. Make her feel needed. Asterisk, asterisk, April. Start using her things. Establish territory. Asterisk, asterisk, May. Get info on bank accounts. Asterisk, asterisk, June. Make Adam become emotionally indispensable to her. Asterisk, asterisk, July. Suggest to Adam that he ask for a loan to invest in our future. Asterisk. And on the last page, written in red ink, asterisk, asterisk, final goal. Get the house in Adam's name before Sarah turns 60. Elderly people are harder to convince legally later. If it doesn't work the nice way, consider Plan B. Asterisk, 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 Plan B. There were no more details, but I didn't need more. I closed the notebook with shaking hands and put it exactly where it was. I left the room, went down to the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water. My hands were shaking so much I spilled the water. I heard the front door open. "We're home, Mom," Adam shouted. I took a deep breath, dried my hands on my apron. "I'm in the kitchen. They came in with grocery bags." "We brought you your favorite bread," Adam said, smiling. "The sourdough you like." "How nice, son. Thanks." Vanessa looked at me. Her dark eyes studied me for a second, as if she knew. "Are you okay, Sarah? You look pale." "I'm fine, just a little tired." "You should rest more," she said, and there was something in her tone. "At your age, you have to take care of yourself." "At my age." I smiled. "You're right." That night, after dinner, after they went to sleep, I sat in the kitchen alone, with a cup of chamomile tea that had gone cold. And I made a decision. I wasn't going to run. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to beg them to treat me well. I was going to act, but with intelligence. Because if my 30 years as an accountant had taught me anything, it was that numbers don't lie. And I was very good with numbers. I was also good at documenting things, saving evidence, building cases. If Vanessa had a plan, I would have a better one. I went up to my room, took out my phone, and started taking photos of the missing bank statements, of the electric bills that had tripled, of the notebook I found page by page. Then I saved everything to the cloud in a folder named Recipes. No one would suspect. The following days I kept acting normal, but every time I left the house, I stopped by the bank. I spoke with my account manager. "Mrs. Anderson, is everything all right?" he asked, seeing my face. "I need to change some things in my accounts," I said. "And I want information on how to protect my assets." He looked at me with understanding. It wasn't the first time he'd seen a case like this. "Let me give you the contact of a trusted attorney," he told me quietly. "She specializes in estate planning and asset protection for seniors." Seniors. I was 58, but to the world, I was already an old woman who needed protection. I took the contact. 3 days later, I had an appointment with the lawyer. Her name was attorney Monica Fields, a woman in her 40s with a serious but kind look. I told her everything. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she sighed. "Mrs. Anderson, unfortunately, your case is not unique. I see this every week. Children who see their parents as bank accounts, in-laws who plan to keep everything. What can I do legally? A lot. You can protect your assets. You can make an ironclad trust. You can even," she paused, "you can document the financial and emotional abuse. If you have proof, you can start a legal process. Evict them. Report them if they have taken things without your permission. Evict them. My own son. I don't know if I can do that." "I understand," Attorney Fields said with empathy. "But think about this. What do you think they're going to do when you no longer serve a purpose? Do you think they're going to take care of you, or do you think they're going to wait until you're gone?" I knew the answer. "Take your time to think about it," she gave me her card. "But in the meantime, protect what you can, your savings, your house, your dignity." I left that office with a knot in my stomach, but also with clarity. I was no longer the Sarah who cleaned and stayed silent. I was the Sarah who documented and planned. And when the day came that I woke up and the house was empty, when I saw they had sold my things, when Adam told me on the phone, "She deserves Paris, Mom," I wasn't surprised anymore. Because I was already expecting it, and I already had my answer prepared. An answer that would teach them that justice doesn't always come from the courts. Sometimes it comes from patience, intelligence, and 15 days of perfect preparation. Have you ever discovered something that completely changed how you saw someone? Have you ever found proof they were lying to you? Tell me in the comments. Sometimes the truth hurts, but it also liberates. The day I woke up and the house was empty was a Tuesday, a common Tuesday that seemed like all the others. I got up at 6 a.m. as always. I opened my eyes and the first thing I saw was the ceiling of my room, the same faint crack I had seen for years. I got up, put on my slippers, and went down the stairs. But something was different. The silence was distinct. It wasn't the silence of a sleeping house, it was the silence of a dead house. I reached the bottom of the stairs and the living room was empty. Completely empty. At first, I thought I was dreaming. I closed my eyes, opened them again. Nothing. The emerald green velvet sofa I bought 15 years ago, gone. The coffee table where Robert and I drank coffee on Sunday mornings, gone. The floor lamp I inherited from my mother, gone. Even the curtains. They had taken even the damn curtains. I walked barefoot toward the dining room. My feet felt heavy, as if walking at the bottom of a lake. The dining room wasn't there either. The oak table where we celebrated Adam's first birthday. The 8 matching chairs. The antique china cabinet that took me 6 months of savings to buy everything. They had taken everything. I went to the kitchen almost running. The stove was still there, the refrigerator too. But the copper pots Robert brought me from New Orleans, gone. The fine china set we used for holidays, gone. Even the KitchenAid mixer my sister gave me when I got married. Even that. I opened the pantry with trembling hands. The spice jars, the ones I had organized alphabetically, were no longer there. The coffee mugs I collected from every city I visited were gone. I opened the refrigerator empty. They had taken even the food. The ham, the cheese, the fruit, the yogurt, even the milk. As if nothing had ever existed, I leaned against the kitchen wall and tried to breathe, but I couldn't. It was as if someone had punched me in the chest. As if the air had become solid. I ran up to my room. My bed was there, my clothes too. But when I opened the nightstand drawer, my watch, the gold watch Robert gave me for our 20th anniversary, was not there. I opened the closet. The shoebox where I kept cash for emergencies, $2,000 I had there for months, was gone. I went to the guest room, the one they used. Empty. Not a single suitcase, not a piece of clothing, not a sign that they had ever lived there. Like ghosts. I returned to the empty living room. I stood in the center. The morning sun entered through the curtainless windows. The light was so strong it hurt. And there, in the middle of that empty space, I found a note. A simple white note on the hardwood floor. I picked it up with trembling hands. I recognized Adam's handwriting immediately. Asterisk, Mom, we needed money urgently. Vanessa and I went to Paris for a few days. She always dreamed of going, and I wanted to give her that. We sold some things to be able to pay for the trip. Don't worry, they weren't important things, just old furniture. We'll be back in 15 days. Love you, Adam. Asterisk, I read that note 3 times. Then 4. Then I read it until the words became blurry. Asterisk, not important things, just old furniture. Asterisk, asterisk, just old furniture. Asterisk, that sofa I bought when Adam was 3. I sat there to read him stories every night. That table was where we ate dinner as a family, where Robert announced his promotions, where Adam blew out candles on his birthday cakes. That lamp was my mother's. The only physical thing I had left of her after she died. Asterisk, old things. Asterisk. They were my life. Every object in this house had a story, a memory, a piece of my soul. And he, my son, called them old things. I sat on the floor, right there, in the middle of the empty living room. And for the first time in months, something inside me truly broke. But I didn't cry. There were no more tears. There was only a cold, crystalline, perfect fury. I took my phone, dialed Adam. Once, twice, 3 times. On the 4th ring, he answered. Mom? His voice sounded distant, with background noise. People talking. Music. That's when he told me she deserved Paris. That's when he told me they were just material things. That's when he hung up on me to board his flight. I don't know how long I sat there. It could have been an hour. It could have been 3. But at some point, I got up, dusted off my pajamas, and walked to the kitchen. There was a chair, a single chair they had forgotten to take, or perhaps left out of pity. I sat down, took out my notebook, the one I always carried to note expenses and tasks, and started writing. Asterisk, asterisk, list of items taken. Asterisk, 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 green velvet sofa. Approx value, $3,500, asterisk, 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 hardwood coffee table. Value, $800, asterisk, 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 floor lamp, mom's heirloom. Sentimental value, priceless. Asterisk, 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 dining table with 8 chairs. Value, $5,000, asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Antique china cabinet, value $4,000 ** 55-inch Samsung TV. Value $800 ** paintings, 5 total. Value $2,500 ** copper pots. Value $600 ** fine china service for 12. Value $1,200 ** mixer, coffee maker, toaster. Value $600 ** ceramic planters, value $300 ** Persian rugs. 2. Value $6,000 ** Robert's gold watch. Value $4,000 ** cash. $2,000 times. I kept writing every object, everything. At the end of the list, I summed it up. $31,300. They had taken over $30,000 in things to go to Paris. So she could deserve Paris. I closed the notebook and then I smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was a smile of understanding, of absolute clarity. Because in that moment I understood something fundamental. My son was lost. Not the boy I raised. Not the boy who hugged me and said I love you, Mom, before sleeping. That boy no longer existed. The man who had just robbed me to go on vacation with his girlfriend. That was not my son. He was a stranger who looked like him. And Vanessa was exactly what I always knew she was. A thief, an intelligent, patient thief, but a thief nonetheless. And now that they had gotten what they wanted for that trip, they would come back for more. They would come back and ask me to borrow money. They would come back and convince me to sell the house because I'm too old to maintain it. They would come back and make me sign papers I wouldn't understand. They would come back to destroy me. Unless I acted first. I got up from that chair. I went to my room. I took out Attorney Monica Fields' card. I dialed her number. Attorney Fields? Sarah Anderson here. The lady who came to see you last week. Mrs. Anderson, how are you? Did something happen? Yes. My voice sounded calm, almost cold. I need to see you today. It's urgent. I can see you in 2 hours. Does that work? Perfect. I hung up. I showered. I got dressed. I put on the most formal clothes I had, a black pantsuit I used for important meetings at the firm. I put on makeup, not much, just enough to look professional. I looked in the mirror. I was no longer the Sarah who cleaned and stayed silent. I was no longer the Sarah who begged for love. I was the Sarah they had created, and that Sarah had no mercy. I arrived at the law office at 11 a.m. Attorney Fields received me immediately. Her face showed concern when she saw me. Mrs. Anderson, what happened? I told her everything. I showed her Adam's note. I showed her the photos I had taken of the empty house. I showed her the detailed list of what they had taken. She listened in silence. Her expression went from concern to indignation. This is theft, she said finally. Grand larceny aggravated by breach of trust. Elder financial abuse. We can report them criminally. I don't want to report them. No? No. I said calmly. I want something better. What? I want to protect what I have left. I want to make sure they can never touch anything of mine again. And I paused. I want to teach them a lesson they will never forget. The lawyer smiled. It wasn't a professional smile. It was the smile of a woman who had seen these types of cases before. Tell me what you have in mind. And then I told her my plan. A plan that had been forming in my mind since I saw that empty house. A plan that required patience, intelligence, and exactly 15 days. When I finished explaining, Attorney Fields nodded. It's legal. Completely legal. And if I may say so, it's brilliant. I can help you. Can you? I can and I will. But we need to act fast. If they return in 15 days, we have to have everything ready for when they knock on that door. Then let's start. The following 15 days were the most intense of my life. ***. Day 1. ***. I went to the bank. I withdrew all the money from my savings accounts and transferred it to a new account, an account only I knew about, in another bank, with another branch, $85,000 safe. Asterisk, asterisk. Day 2. Asterisk, asterisk. I hired a locksmith. I explained I needed to change all times the locks on the house. All of them. Front door, back door, windows, garage door. All of them, ma'am? All of them. Asterisk, asterisk. Day 3. Asterisk, asterisk. I hired a moving company. I asked them to move all of Adam and Vanessa's things. Where do we take them? To storage? To the garage, I said. All their things. Clothes, shoes, books, everything. Pack it well and store it in the garage. The workers looked at me strangely, but didn't ask. Asterisk, asterisk. Day 4. Asterisk, asterisk. I went to a furniture store. I bought the basics. A new sofa, a small table, chairs. They weren't luxurious, they weren't expensive, but they were times mine. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Day 5. Asterisk, asterisk. I installed security cameras. 3. One at the entrance, one in the living room, one in the hallway. Just in case. Asterisk, asterisk. Day 6. Asterisk, asterisk. I returned to Attorney Fields. We signed documents, many documents. A new living trust, a revoked power of attorney, a deed to the house exclusively in my name with a protection clause. With this, the lawyer explained, no one can sell, mortgage, or do anything with your house without your notarized consent, not even your son. Perfect. Asterisk, asterisk. Day 7. Asterisk, asterisk. I called my boss. I explained I needed 2 weeks of vacation. Are you okay, Sarah? I'm perfect. I just need time to settle some personal matters. I got the vacation. Asterisk, asterisk. Day 8. Asterisk, asterisk. I went to a psychologist. Not because I felt bad, but because I needed documentation. Doctor, I need you to evaluate my mental state. I need a certificate that says I am perfectly sane, that my decisions are conscious and rational. The doctor evaluated me. 3 hours of tests. At the end, she handed me a certified document. Asterisk, Mrs. Sarah Anderson is in full possession of her mental faculties. She presents no signs of cognitive deterioration, depression, or psychological manipulation. Her decisions are made freely and consciously. Asterisk, perfect. Asterisk, asterisk. Day 9. Asterisk, asterisk. I hired a different lawyer, one specializing in civil and family law. I want to initiate a preventive eviction process. I have proof that the people living with me took my belongings without permission. I want to be legally prepared for when they return. The lawyer reviewed all the documents. You have a solid case. We can proceed. Asterisk, asterisk. Day 10. Asterisk, asterisk. I sent a certified letter to Vanessa's mother's address. The only address I had for her family. It was a simple letter. Asterisk. By means of this letter, I inform you that the belongings of Miss Vanessa Ramirez are secured at my residence. Please coordinate their collection within a period no greater than 30 days. Otherwise, I will proceed according to law. Asterisk. Signed by my lawyer. Asterisk, asterisk. Day 11. Asterisk, asterisk. I bought new plants for the patio. Roses, geraniums, I planted them myself. While digging in the dirt, I felt something inside me healing. Asterisk, asterisk. Day 12. Asterisk, asterisk. I invited Carol to lunch, my friend who had offered help months ago. I told her everything. She cried. I didn't. Sarah, she hugged me. You are the strongest woman I know. I'm not strong, Carol. I'm just tired of being weak. Asterisk, asterisk. Day 13. Asterisk, asterisk. I cleaned the house from top to bottom, like never before. I washed floors, scrubbed walls, cleaned windows. I erased every trace of them. Asterisk, asterisk. Day 14. Asterisk, asterisk. I went to the salon. I cut my hair, dyed it. Then I went to a store and bought new clothes. Clothes I liked, not older lady clothes. Colorful dresses, modern blouses. I looked in the fitting room mirror. I no longer recognized the woman looking back at me, and I liked that. Asterisk, asterisk. Day 15. Asterisk, asterisk. It was Monday. Their flight arrived at 6 p.m. I got up early, made coffee, ate breakfast calmly. I checked that everything was in order. New locks, Things in the garage, legal documents, cameras working, everything perfect. At 3 p.m., I sat on my new sofa in my living room with my new things. I turned on the television and put on a movie, and I waited. Because I knew that when they knocked on that door, when they tried to open with their keys, when they realized they no longer worked, that's where true justice would begin. Not the justice of the courts. Not the justice of revenge. The justice of times, consequences, asterisk, the one that arrives when people finally understand that everything you give returns. And what they had given me, it was time to return it. I still wonder if I did the right thing. And you, what would you have done in my place? Would you have forgiven or acted like me? Tell me in the comments. Sometimes the hardest decisions are the ones that define us most. I heard the Uber at 6:15 p.m. The engine, the doors closing, the laughter, asterisk, their time's laughter. I stayed seated on my new sofa. I didn't get up. I didn't run to the window. I breathed deep. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. Calm, in control. I heard their voices approaching the door. Vanessa was talking loudly, excited. I tell you, the Eiffel Tower at night is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And the photos turned out incredible. I already have like 200 likes. Yeah, it was amazing. Adam's voice sounded tired. Although the flight was way too long. I just want to get there and sleep. Sleep. In my house. As if nothing had happened. I heard the sound of a key entering the lock. Once. Twice. What the heck? Adam said. The key isn't going in right. Here, let me try. Vanessa. The sound of metal against metal. Struggling. No, it's not working. Her voice now with a touch of irritation. What happened to the lock? I don't know. Try your key. More attempts. More struggling. And then they rang the doorbell. Asterisk, ding dong. Asterisk, I stood up slowly. Smoothed my new dress. A navy blue dress I had bought. Simple, elegant, dignified. I walked toward the door. My steps sounded different on the hardwood floor. Firmer, more sure. I reached the door, took a deep breath, and opened it. Adam's face was the first thing I saw. Tanned, rested, happy. He was wearing a Paris cap and a new t-shirt. Vanessa was beside him with huge sunglasses, perfect hair, impeccable makeup. Both were dragging large suitcases that probably cost more than my old sofa. Mom, Adam smiled. We couldn't open the door. What happened to the... He stopped. He looked at me, really looked at me. His eyes scanned my face. My short hair dyed chestnut with copper highlights. My subtle but present makeup. My new dress. Mom. His voice changed. What? What did you do to yourself? Hello, Adam. My voice sounded calm, almost kind. I see you returned from Paris. Yeah, it was amazing. We brought you this. He took out a small paper bag with an Eiffel Tower magnet. For your fridge. I stared at the magnet. A $5 magnet in exchange for $30,000 of my things. What a detail. I don't want it, I said without extending my hand. There was an awkward silence. Vanessa took off her glasses. She looked me up and down. Wow, Sarah, you look different. Did you go to a salon? Yes. It suits you. She smiled. But it was that fake smile I knew so well. Well, we're dead tired. The flight was eternal. Can you help us with the bags? I didn't move. No. Vanessa laughed as if I had told a joke. No? Adam looked at me confused. Mom, are you okay? Why didn't you open? And why don't our keys work? Because I changed the locks. Silence. A silence so deep I heard a dog bark 3 houses down. What? Adam laughed nervously. Why would you do that? Because you no longer live here. The smile vanished from his face. Mom, I don't understand. Is this a joke? It's not a joke, Adam. My voice remained calm, but firm. You sold my belongings without my permission. You took things that weren't yours. You went on a trip with money you got by robbing me. You are no longer welcome in this house. Vanessa stepped forward. Her face had changed completely. There was no smile anymore. Wait. Her voice rose in pitch. What are you talking about? We didn't steal anything. We just sold old furniture you didn't even use. Furniture that was mine, in my house, without my permission. But Adam is your son, Vanessa almost screamed. This is his house too. No, I said with absolute calm. This is my time's house. It is in my name. I bought it. I paid for every brick. And you, I looked at both of them. You are no longer welcome here. Adam dropped his suitcase. Mom! His voice broke. You can't do this. Where are we going to go? I don't know, but that's not my problem. We're your family. Family doesn't steal. Family doesn't betray. Family doesn't sell their mother's memories to go on vacation. It was just time stuff asterisk, Vanessa yelled. Material things. You always said family is more important than things. Something in her tone made me laugh. It wasn't a kind laugh. It was a laugh of recognition. You're right, Vanessa. Family is more important. That's why my family, my husband's memories, the objects I built with my work, those are my family. And you. I looked her straight in the eyes. You were never family. You were an invader. A patient thief. Her face turned red. How dare you? I dare because it's my house. Because I'm fed up. Because I discovered your notebook. She went pale. What notebook? Asterisk, Operation Homeowner, asterisk, I said calmly. I found it. I read it all. Your plans, your strategies, your plan B. Adam looked at me. What is she talking about? Ask your girlfriend, I said. Ask her about the plan you had to keep my house, my savings. Ask her what you planned to do with me when I no longer served a purpose. Mom, are you making things up? Adam ran a hand through his hair. I think you need to see a doctor. Maybe the loneliness is affecting. Don't say it. I interrupted him. No, son. What affected me was trusting you. What affected me was seeing how you allowed this woman to turn you into a thief. I am not a thief. His scream resonated down the street. I saw the neighbor across the street, Mrs. Higgins, peek through her window. Then what do you call selling your mother's things without her permission? I asked. What do you call taking her gold watch? Emptying her refrigerator? Taking even her spices? I thought you wouldn't mind. His voice sounded small now. You said family came first. And it does. But you aren't my family. You haven't been for a long time. Vanessa exploded. You're a crazy old woman, she screamed. After everything we did for you, we kept you company. You weren't alone. And this is how you repay us? Company? My voice rose for the first time. Company? You used my house as a hotel. You ate my food. You used my electricity, my water, my internet. You kicked me out of my own living room. You made me sleep on the couch so your cousin could have my bed. You asked me for money you never returned. You went through my private things. You planned to rob me, and now you tell me you kept me company? At least I was there. Vanessa had tears of rage. You have no one else. Without us, you are alone. I smiled. It was the first genuine smile I'd had in months. I prefer to be alone than surrounded by thieves. Enough. Adam raised his hands. Mom, please. We made a mistake. I'm sorry. Really, I'm sorry. But we can't stay on the street. Give me a chance. We can talk. We can fix this. There is nothing to fix. I am your son. You are. And precisely because of that, it hurts more. I felt a lump in my throat, but I didn't cry. But you made your decision, Adam. You chose this woman over me. You chose stealing from me over respecting me. You chose Paris over your mother. It wasn't like that. Yes, it was. And now I choose my dignity over you. Vanessa took a threatening step toward me. You know what? I pity you. You're a bitter old woman who is going to die alone. And when that happens, do you know who is going to inherit everything? No, it won't be. What? I changed my will, I said, with absolute calm. I hired a lawyer. I made new documents. This house has protection clauses. My savings are protected in a trust. And when I die, everything will go to a foundation for abused women. Her face crumbled. No, you can't do that. I already did. I have all the documents certified. Besides, I took out my phone. I have everything recorded. Every word you said, every threat, every insult. Adam stood petrified. You're recording us? Not just me. I pointed discreetly to the cameras I had installed. The house has surveillance now. Everything is recorded. Vanessa staggered. Are you crazy? Completely crazy. No, I'm sane. In fact, I have a psychological certificate proving it, issued a week ago. I took the folded document out of my pocket, just in case you try to say I'm senile or manipulated. Vanessa couldn't speak. Her face was red, then pale, then red again. Adam. Her voice trembled. Adam, say something. Do something. But Adam just looked at me. His eyes were full of tears. Mom. His voice was a whisper. Do you really hate me that much? Those words hurt more than I expected. I don't hate you, son, I said, and my voice broke for the first time. I love you. I have always loved you. That's why this hurts so much. But love doesn't mean allowing you to destroy me. Love doesn't mean being your victim, but we are family, and precisely because of that, I expected more from you. I expected you to protect me, to respect me, but you chose something else. I took a deep breath, and now you have to go. Where? Vanessa screamed. We have no money. We have nowhere to go. You have the money from my furniture. Over $30,000 to be exact. Find a hotel or go to your mom's. But you can't stay here. Our things are inside, I smiled. And that was when I said it. The words I had been waiting to say since I opened that door. They aren't inside, I said. I prepared a gift for you. Come. I walked toward the garage. They followed me, confused. Adam dragging his suitcase, Vanessa shaking with rage. I reached the garage door, took out the new key, put it in the lock, and opened it. The garage light turned on automatically. And there it was. Boxes and boxes stacked neatly, labeled. Adam's clothes, Vanessa's shoes, books, personal items, cosmetics, electronics, everything perfectly packed, everything organized like a professional move. Vanessa stood frozen in the garage entrance. Her mouth opened. She took a step forward, then another. Her eyes scanned the boxes, the piles. Everything they had accumulated in those 2 years. Their whole life packed up. What? What is this? Her voice was barely a whisper. Your gift, I said calmly. I packed all your belongings. They are complete. I checked 3 times. Nothing is missing. You can take them whenever you want. No. Vanessa shook her head. No. I even hired a moving company. If you give me an address, they can take everything tomorrow, free of charge. I'll pay. You can't do this. Vanessa turned toward me, furious. This is our house. We live here. Asterisk, lived. Asterisk, past tense. Not anymore. Adam grabbed her arm. Say something. She can't kick us out like this. Adam looked at the boxes. His face was pale, completely pale. Mom. His voice trembled. Are you really going to do this? It's already done. But. I'm your son. I'm your only son. I know. And this is how you treat me? You pack my things as if I were a stranger? Yes. Because that is what you became to me, Adam. The son I raised wouldn't have robbed his mother. The son I raised wouldn't have allowed his girlfriend to plan to keep everything I own. I didn't know about that notebook, he shouted. But you knew you sold my things. You knew it was wrong, and still you did it. And when I called you, when I begged you to explain, you told me she times deserved times Paris. His eyes filled with tears. I wanted to make her happy. And what about my happiness? What about my pain? Did you ever think of me? He didn't answer because he couldn't. Because he knew the answer. Vanessa started hyperventilating. No. She walked in circles. This can't be happening. This isn't. She approached a box, opened it, took out a dress, one of those expensive dresses she bought. She clutched it to her chest. I worked to have this. All this is mine, and you can take it, I said. Everything, every shoe, every blouse, every accessory, but you can't take it times into times my house. This house belongs to Adam too. No, it doesn't. Legally, this house is completely mine. I have the deeds, I have everything documented, and even if it were his, I looked at my son. He made his decision when he chose to sell my belongings. Adam dropped to the floor. He sat there among the boxes, head in his hands, and cried. He cried like a child, my child. I felt something break inside me, one last part of my heart that still protected him. But I didn't give in. I couldn't give in. Because giving in meant going back to being the Sarah who cleaned and stayed silent, the Sarah who allowed them to hurt her, and that Sarah was already dead. Vanessa lunged at me. "You did this," she screamed. "You poisoned him against me." We were happy until... She didn't finish the sentence, because her eyes landed on something behind me. Her face changed. She went completely white. Her legs began to tremble. "No," she whispered. I turned to see what she was looking at. There, on the back wall of the garage, I had hung something. The notebook, her notebook, asterisk, asterisk, Operation Homeowner, asterisk, asterisk, enlarged, photocopied. Each page hung like a mural for everyone to see. Every plan, every strategy, every lie, everything exposed. Vanessa started shaking harder. How? I found it weeks ago, I said. I photographed it, documented it, and now it's backed up in several places, just in case you try to say it never existed. Her knees gave way. She fell to the floor and fainted. Adam shouted, "Vanessa!" He ran to her. "Vanessa, wake up!" He patted her cheeks, moved her. She didn't respond. "Mom, do something! Call an ambulance!" I stood still. "She's going to wake up. It's just a faint from shock." "How can you be so cold?" "I'm not cold, Adam. I'm just tired." In that moment, Vanessa opened her eyes. She looked at Adam, then at me, and burst into tears. Hysterical, uncontrolled sobbing. "It's over," she sobbed. "It's over. The plan. Everything." Adam hugged her, confused. "What are you talking about? What plan?" But she just cried. I turned around. "You have until tomorrow at 6 p.m. to get your things out of the garage," I said without looking at them. "After that, I will hire a company to donate everything to charity." "Mom," Adam's voice was a plea. "Please." "Goodbye, Adam." I walked toward the door that connected the garage to the house. Before closing it, I turned one last time. There was my son, sitting on the floor, hugging a sobbing woman, surrounded by boxes, surrounded by the consequences of their actions. And I didn't feel satisfaction. I didn't feel revenge. I only felt peace. The peace of knowing I had done the right thing, that I had chosen my dignity, that I had chosen times me asterisk. I closed the door, locked it, and walked back to my living room. My new living room, with my new furniture, with my new plants, with my new life. Outside, I heard screams, pleas, pounding on the door, but I didn't go back. I couldn't go back, because going back meant losing myself again, and I had already found myself. That night, I didn't sleep much. I heard when they finally left, dragging suitcases, crying, calling someone on the phone. By 11 p.m., everything went silent. I peeked out the window. They were gone. I went down to the garage. The boxes were still there, intact. On the floor were tear stains and a note written in Adam's shaky handwriting. Asterisk, Mom. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to fix this. I just want you to know that I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Forgive me for everything. I love you, Adam. Asterisk, I took the note, read it, and cried. I cried everything I hadn't cried in weeks. I cried for the son I lost. I cried for the family we never had. I cried for the wasted years. But I also cried with relief, because finally, I was free. The first 3 days were the hardest, not because I regretted it, but because the silence was so deep it hurt. The first morning after they left, I woke up with the sun coming through the window. No sound of voices, no TV on, no footsteps upstairs, just silence. I got up, went down to the kitchen, made coffee for one person. I sat at my new table, in my new chair, in my kitchen that smelled clean, new, asterisk mine asterisk, and I cried into my coffee. I didn't cry for them. I cried for me, for the years I lost, for the times I stayed silent, for every moment I chose false peace over my dignity. I cried for the Sarah that no longer existed, but when I finished crying, I wiped my tears, drank my coffee, and kept going, because that was the only thing I could do. The second day, I cleaned the garage. The boxes were still there, untouched. No one had come for them. I put on old clothes, gloves, and started checking. I don't know what I expected to find. Maybe some sign that Adam really loved me. Maybe a letter, a photo of us, something that told me I meant something to him. I opened the first box. Vanessa's clothes, expensive dresses, brand tags, some still with price tags on them. $120 for a dress, $250 for another. Money they didn't have. I opened another box. Shoes. Dozens of pairs. Heels, brand name sneakers, boots, while I wore the same shoes for years. I kept opening boxes. Makeup, hundreds of products, expensive creams, imported perfumes, electronics, a new iPad, wireless headphones, a professional camera. How much of this had been bought with my money? With the money I lent them, with the electricity money I paid, with the food money I bought, with the money from my sold furniture. Finally, I reached a small box labeled Adam's Important Papers. I opened it with trembling hands. Inside were documents, his birth certificate, his college degree, old photos, and there, a photograph. It was from when Adam was 7. We were at the beach. Robert was still alive. The three of us were smiling. Adam had a sand bucket in his hand and a huge smile. I was hugging him. He looked so happy, so innocent. Where was that boy? At what moment did he become the man who robbed his mother? I touched the photograph with my finger and then saw something written on the back in Adam's childish handwriting. Asterisk, my mom is the best mom in the world. I love her lots and lots. Adam. 7. Asterisk. Something broke inside me. I sat on the garage floor surrounded by boxes, holding that photograph, and understood something. The 7-year-old Adam did times love me. The 7-year-old Adam wasn't bad, but time decisions, Vanessa. They had changed him, and I couldn't save him. No one could save him, except himself. I put the photograph in my blouse pocket. I would keep that one. The rest they could take or lose. It didn't matter anymore. The third day, Carol came to visit. She knocked on the door at 10 a.m. with a casserole and homemade rolls. "Don't tell me you already ate," she said as soon as I opened, "because you need to eat something homemade after all this." I hadn't eaten well in 3 days, just coffee and bread. "Thanks, Carol." We went into the kitchen. She set the plates, heated the food, and we sat down. We ate in silence for a while. Finally, she spoke. "How are you?" "I don't know. Do you regret it?" I thought about it. I really thought about it. "No," I said finally. "I don't regret it. But it hurts. It's normal. He's your son. He is. But Carol, have you ever had to choose between loving someone and respecting yourself?" She nodded slowly. "Yes. With my ex-husband, he was an alcoholic. He hit me, but I loved him. Or thought I loved him. It took me years to understand that loving him didn't mean destroying myself. And what did you do?" "I left him," she said simply. "I took my kids and left. It was the hardest thing I've done in my life, but it was also what saved me." "Did you ever forgive him?" "Yes. Years later, when he changed. When he stopped drinking. When he asked for forgiveness on his knees." Carol took my hand. "But I didn't go back to him. Because forgiving doesn't mean forgetting, and it doesn't mean going back to where you were hurt." Her words stayed with me. "Do you think Adam will change?" "I don't know, Sarah. But what I do know is that people only change when they face the consequences of their actions. If you had forgiven him, if you had let them stay, do you think they would have learned anything? No. Exactly. Sometimes the greatest love you can give is letting someone fall so they learn to get up." I cried again, but this time it wasn't from pain, it was from understanding. Carol stayed with me all afternoon. We watched TV, we talked about unimportant things. She left when it got dark. Before leaving, she hugged me tight. "I'm proud of you," she whispered, "and your husband would be too." Those words gave me strength. On the 4th day, I received a call. It was from an unknown number. I hesitated to answer, but something told me to do it. "Hello? Mrs. Anderson?" It was a young woman's voice. "This is Megan Ramirez." The last name sounded familiar, but I couldn't place it. "Yes? I'm I'm Vanessa's sister. My blood ran cold. Ah, please don't hang up. Her voice sounded desperate. I want to tell you something. I'm listening. There was a pause. I heard her breathing. I want to apologize. I didn't expect that. Apologize? Why? Because I knew. Her voice broke. I knew what Vanessa was doing, what they were planning, she told me. She bragged about that notebook. She laughed at you. She said it was very easy to manipulate you, and I didn't say anything. I closed my eyes. Why didn't you say anything? Because Vanessa is my sister, and I was afraid she would cut me out of her life. She's always been like that, controlling, manipulative. But she's my sister, and She started crying. I'm so sorry. I should have warned you. I should have done something. I didn't know what to say. Where are they now? I asked. They're with my mom at her house. Adam is really bad. He doesn't come out of the room. He doesn't eat. He just cries. And Vanessa. She paused. Vanessa is furious. She says you're a snake, that you betrayed her, that she's going to. Going to what? I don't know. She talks about lawsuits, about lawyers, about proving you're not right in the head. But, Megan sighed, it's pointless. My mom already kicked her out. She told her she can't live here with that attitude, that if she lost her place, it was her fault. Interesting. Even Vanessa's mother saw the truth. And Adam, he just asks about you all the time. Do you think my mom will forgive me? Do you think I can call her? How could I be so stupid? Megan paused. Mrs. Anderson, I don't know you, but I think you did the right thing. My sister is toxic, and Adam needed this lesson. Thanks for calling, I said gently. Is there anything else? She said quickly, as if fearing I would hang up. Vanessa has a suitcase full of your things she stole before going to Paris, jewelry, documents, money. She hid it at a friend's house. I can give you the address so you can recover your things. Of course, there were more stolen things. Give me the address. She gave it to me. A house in the downtown area. And Mrs. Anderson, her voice was barely a whisper. If someday Adam changes for real, if he learns. Do you think you... She didn't finish the question, but I understood. If someday he becomes the man he should have always been, I said. If he recognizes his mistakes and changes for real, not just in words, then we'll talk. But until that day, he needs to be away from me. I understand. Thanks for listening. She hung up. I sat with the phone in my hand. Vanessa still had things of mine, and there was a part of me that wanted to recover them. But there was another part, a bigger part, that said, asterisk, let it go. It doesn't matter anymore. Asterisk, the 5th day. I made a decision. I called Attorney Fields. Attorney Fields, I need your help with something. Tell me, I want to donate something. I want to create a small but significant fund for women who are in situations of family abuse, so they have legal resources, advice, protection. There was a silence. Mrs. Anderson, are you sure? Completely. I've been thinking. What I lived wasn't physical violence, but it was emotional, financial abuse. And I know there are many women going through the same thing. Women who don't know how to get out, who don't have resources, who are afraid. How much were you thinking of donating? I thought about it. $10,000 to start, I said, from my savings. And every month I'm going to set aside a part of my salary. It's not much, but it's a lot. The lawyer sounded emotional. It's more than enough to start. We can create a trust. I can connect you with organizations. This can help many women, Mrs. Anderson. That's what I want, for something good to come out of all this. And so it was. In the following 2 weeks, with the help of the lawyer, we established the fund. It would be called asterisk asterisk the Sarah Fund, for women's dignity, asterisk asterisk. It wasn't a pretentious name, it wasn't elegant, but it was honest, and it was mine. On the 6th day, I went to recover my things. The address Megan gave me was a modest house downtown. I knocked on the door. A woman in her 30 seconds opened. She looked nervous. Mrs. Anderson? Yes. Megan called me. She said you'd come. She opened the door completely. Come in. The suitcase is in the living room. I entered. There it was. A large black suitcase. The woman was biting her nails. I didn't know they were stolen goods, she said quickly. Vanessa told me they were hers, that she just needed to store them for a while. I'm sorry, don't worry. It's not your fault. I opened the suitcase, and there was everything. The mahogany jewelry box Robert gave me, the bank statements taken from my room, the gold watch, family photos, even cash, like $500. Things Vanessa planned to sell or keep for herself. I closed the suitcase. Thanks for keeping them. Aren't you going to report her? The woman asked. I thought about it. I could do it. I had proof. I had witnesses. I could ruin Vanessa legally. No, I said finally. I'm not going to report her. Why not? Because justice is already collecting its debt, I said. She already lost everything. She no longer has my house. She no longer has access to my money. Even her own mother kicked her out. And that, I lifted the suitcase, that is enough. The woman looked at me with respect. You are very generous. I'm not generous. I'm just tired. And I want peace, not revenge. I left that house with my things, but I didn't feel victory. I just felt closure. On the 7th day, I did something I hadn't done in years. I called my sister Betty. She lived in Chicago. We didn't talk much. Life had separated us. But she had always been my friend when we were girls. Sarah? Her voice sounded surprised. Is that you? Yes, it's me. I know, and I'm sorry. I took a deep breath. Betty, I need to tell you something. And I told her everything. From when Adam and Vanessa came to live with me to the moment I kicked them out. She listened in silence. When I finished, she didn't speak for a minute. I thought she was angry, that she was going to scold me for kicking out my son, but then she said, Sarah, I am so proud of you. I was surprised. What? You were always the good one, the one who sacrificed, the one who put up with everything. And I always worried about you. I always thought someday you were going to break, but you didn't break. Her voice cracked. You stood up, and that is the bravest thing I've ever seen. I started crying. I don't feel brave, but you are. You know what? I'm going to come visit you next month. Let's spend time together like when we were girls. I would love that. And Sarah. She paused. Mom would be proud of you. Dad too. And Robert. Robert would definitely be proud. Those words healed me more than anything else could have, because all this time I had wondered if Robert would approve of my decision. If he would think I was too hard on his son, but now I knew he would understand. Because he knew me, he knew how much I could endure, and he would know when it was enough. The following days passed slowly but steadily. I went back to work. My colleagues noticed the change in me. They didn't ask much, but Mr. Henderson, the senior partner, told me, Sarah, you look different. Lighter. It's because I am, I said with a smile. And it was true. I had lost my son. I had lost the idea of the family I thought I would have, but I had gained myself. One afternoon, while watering my new plants on the patio, I saw something. A monarch butterfly perched on one of my geraniums. It was beautiful. Bright orange with black, monarch butterflies migrate thousands of miles. They travel alone, face the wind, the cold, predators, but they always arrive where they need to be because they know where they are going. I was like that butterfly. I had migrated from my old life to my new life. I had left behind the pain, the abuse, the denial, and I was arriving where I needed to be. 3 weeks after the day of the confrontation, I received a letter. It arrived by mail, handwritten with Adam's handwriting. My heart beat fast when I saw it. I sat in the living room, opened it with trembling hands. Asterisk, Mom. Asterisk, asterisk, I don't know if you will read this. I don't know if you want to hear from me, but I need to write to you. Asterisk, asterisk. I have had a lot of time to think. Too much time. And every day that passes, I understand more what I did to you. Asterisk, asterisk, I have no excuses. I can't blame Vanessa. I can't blame anyone but myself. I chose to sell your things. I chose to go to Paris. I chose to ignore your pain. Asterisk, asterisk, and I did it because I lost myself. because I let someone else dictate my life, because I was a coward. Vanessa and I broke up. We are no longer together. She went to Miami with a guy she met. Someone with money, someone who can give her what I never could. And I am living with a friend. I sleep on a couch. I work washing dishes in a restaurant. And it's okay, because it's what I deserve. Mom, I'm not writing to ask for forgiveness. Well, I do ask for it, but I know words aren't enough. I'm writing to tell you that I finally understood. I understood that you were the best mother in the world, that you gave me everything, that you sacrificed your happiness for mine, and I repaid you with betrayal. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to talk to me again. I just want you to know that I am changing for real. Not for you, but for me. Because I need to be better. If someday you can see me again, I hope to be the man you deserve as a son. With all my love, Adam. I read that letter 3 times, and I cried. I cried for the son I lost, and I cried for the son that maybe someday I could recover. But it wasn't today, it wasn't tomorrow, it was someday. A day when he had truly changed, when his actions backed his words. I folded the letter, put it in a drawer, and kept going, because that was what I had to do. Keep going. Not with resentment, not with hatred, but with hope. Hope that he would find his way, hope that he would learn what he needed to learn, and hope that I would continue healing. That night, I sat on my patio under the stars with a cup of chamomile tea and thought about everything that had happened, about the woman I was and the woman I had become, and I understood something fundamental. Sometimes the greatest love you can give is letting go. Letting go of the people who hurt you, letting go of the expectations of what should have been, letting go of the pain, and embracing peace. The peace of knowing you did the right thing, the peace of knowing you chose your dignity, the peace of knowing that time always does justice. And although Adam and Vanessa hadn't yet faced all the consequences of their actions, I knew they would, because life has a way of collecting what is owed, not with revenge, not with punishment, but with natural consequences. And I could live with that. Have you ever had to let go of someone you love to save yourself? Have you ever chosen your peace over your family? It's one of the hardest decisions, but sometimes it's the only way to survive. If you have gone through something like this, you are not alone. Tell me in the comments. 1 year passed. 1 full year since the day I kicked Adam and Vanessa out of my house. A year in which my life changed in ways I never imagined. The Sarah Fund had helped 14 women. 14 women who were in situations similar to mine. Women who needed legal advice, protection, a way out. Every month I received letters from them. Thanks. Stories of how they had recovered their dignity. Those letters healed me. My house no longer felt empty. It felt full of peace, of plants, of light. Carol came to visit every week. Sometimes we cooked together. Sometimes we just sat on the patio drinking coffee and watching the sunset. Betty came from Chicago 3 times. The last time she stayed a whole week. It was like recovering my sister, recovering my true family. My work was going well. I had been given a promotion. I was now a supervisor in the accounting department. And I was fine. Not perfect. Not without scars. But fine. But although my life had improved, theirs hadn't. Not because I did anything, not because I sought revenge, but because life always collects its debts. I heard about Adam by accident. It was a Saturday. I was in the supermarket buying vegetables when I heard a familiar voice. Mrs. Anderson? I turned. It was Megan, Vanessa's sister. Megan. Hi. She looked different, more mature, more serious. How are you? She asked. Good. And you? I'm good. But, she hesitated. I don't know if you want to know. But Adam. My heart accelerated. What about him? He's not good. Megan lowered her voice. He lives alone now. In a small apartment in Queens, he works 2 jobs. One as a waiter during the day, another as a security guard at night. 2 jobs. My son, who had a college degree, working as a waiter and guard. And Vanessa? I asked. though I wasn't sure I wanted to know. Vanessa. Megan sighed. She's back. She was in Miami. Or was. The last I heard, she was living with a man. A businessman. She thought she had gotten what she always wanted. Money, luxury, travel. And the guy turned out to be married. His wife showed up one day at the condo where they lived, caused a scene, kicked him out, and left Vanessa on the street. Literally. Without money, without anything. Karma. She had to borrow money for the bus back to New York, Megan continued. Now she lives with my mom again, but my mom can't stand her anymore. She spends her time locked in her room, depressed, says everyone betrayed her, that the world is unfair. Megan looked me straight in the eyes. But just between you and me, Mrs. Anderson. She asked for it. Everything that happened to her, she asked for it. I didn't say anything because she was right. But I didn't feel satisfaction. I only felt sadness. Sadness for the wasted time, for the ruined lives, for the consequences that could have been avoided. Does Adam know where I am? I asked. Yes, but he doesn't dare look for you. He says he doesn't deserve it. That first he has to. Megan searched for words. That first he has to become someone better. Maybe he was learning. If you see him, I said carefully, tell him that I wish him the best, that I hope he finds his way. I'll tell him. We said goodbye. She left with her shopping cart. I stayed there in the vegetable aisle holding a bunch of kale, processing. 6 months later, I received more news. This time it was from Carol. She had a cousin who worked at a hospital, and her cousin had seen something. We were sitting in my living room drinking chamomile tea when Carol said, "Sarah, there's something you should know." What? It's about Vanessa. My body tensed. What about her? She's in the hospital, General Hospital. My cousin saw her 2 days ago. What happened to her, Carol? She hesitated. I'm not sure of all the details, but it seems she tried to hurt herself. Pills. Her mom found her in time and called the ambulance. My blood ran cold. As much as I hated her, as much damage as she had done to me, I didn't want her to die. Is she okay? Physically, yes, but mentally? Carol shook her head. My cousin says she's really bad. She doesn't talk to anyone, just stares at the ceiling. Does anyone visit her? Her mom goes every day. But my cousin says Vanessa doesn't even look at her or speak to her. It's as if she's no longer there. The void. I remembered the words I had planned to include in my story from the beginning, the words about karmic justice, and in that moment I understood something. Vanessa had lost everything, not because of me, not because I had destroyed her, but because she destroyed herself with her lies, with her greed, with her inability to love anything other than money, and now, she was alone. In a hospital, staring at the ceiling, with no one who truly loved her. With nothing. 2 days later, I did something that surprised myself. I went to the hospital. I don't know why. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was closure. Maybe it was compassion. I arrived at General Hospital, asked for Vanessa Ramirez. The nurse looked at me strangely. Are you family? No, but I know the family. She's on the 3rd floor. Room 312. But I don't know if she wants visitors. I went up to the 3rd floor. My heart was beating fast. I reached the door of room 312. It was ajar. I knocked softly. Can I come in? There was no answer. I pushed the door slowly, and there was Vanessa, lying in a hospital bed, connected to IVs, with unwashed hair, without makeup, with a gaze lost in the ceiling. She looked nothing like the woman I knew. That woman had sparkle in her eyes. She had arrogance. She had that fake but sure smile. This woman was empty. I approached, slowly. Vanessa. Her eyes moved slowly toward me. There was no immediate recognition. Then her eyes widened. You. Her voice was hoarse, weak. What are you doing here? I don't know, I said honestly. I heard you were here and I came. You came to laugh. Her eyes filled with tears. To see how I ended up? No. To tell me, I told you so. I sat in the chair next to her bed. I didn't come to see how you were. She laughed. But it wasn't a happy laugh. It was a broken, empty laugh. "How am I?" she repeated. "I'm destroyed." "Happy?" "No, I'm not happy." "You should be." Tears ran down her cheeks. "You won. You were right. I was. I was a terrible person, and now I have exactly what I deserve. Nothing. I didn't say anything. I just let her talk. Everything I touched got destroyed," she continued. "Adam hates me. My mom is sick of me. I don't have real friends. I never had them. I only had people who wanted something from me. And when I had nothing left to give, everyone left." "Yes." Her voice broke. "They left me, like I left Adam. Like I used everyone." She fell silent, wiping tears with the hospital sheet. "You know what's the worst?" she said finally. "What?" "That you were right. You called me a thief. You told me I was going to end up alone. And I laughed. I thought you were a crazy old woman who didn't understand how the world worked." There were those words. Asterisk, crazy old woman. Asterisk, the same words she had screamed at me that day. "But it turns out you." She looked me straight in the eyes. "You did understand." And I didn't. I didn't understand anything. There was a long silence. "Why did you come?" she asked with a small voice. "Why did you come to see the person who hurt you so much?" I asked myself that. Why had I come? Because I searched for the right words. Because despite everything, I don't want you to die. I don't want you to suffer anymore. You've suffered enough. The consequences of your actions have already arrived. So, do you forgive me? Her eyes held a glimmer of hope. I thought about it. I really thought about it. "I don't know," I said honestly. "What you did still hurts. But I wish you peace. I hope you learn. That you change. That you find a way to be happy without hurting others." Her tears flowed harder. "I don't know if I can change." "We can all change if we really want to." I got up from the chair. "But it has to be your decision. Not for me. Not for Adam. For you." I walked toward the door. Before leaving, I turned. "Vanessa, life always collects its debts. You are living it now. But life also gives second chances. If you truly change, if you truly become someone better, maybe you will find the peace you were looking for." I didn't wait for an answer. I left that room, and when I closed that door, I felt I was closing a chapter. Not with hate, not with revenge, but with understanding. The understanding that justice doesn't always come from the courts. Sometimes it comes from karma, from natural consequences, from life itself. 3 months later, I received a call from Megan. "Mrs. Anderson, I wanted you to know something." "What happened?" "Vanessa started therapy. For real. She's been going every week for 2 months. And she's working at a coffee shop. Nothing glamorous, but it's honest work. Interesting. I'm happy for her. She also asked me to give you something." Megan paused. "A letter. Can I send it to you?" "Yes." A week later, the letter arrived. It was short, written with shaky handwriting. Asterisk, Mrs. Anderson. Asterisk, asterisk. I don't expect your forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just want you to know that I am trying to be better. Not for you, not for Adam, for me. Because I don't want to be that person who destroyed everything she touched again. Thank you for visiting me in the hospital. No one else did. That meant more than you imagine. Asterisk, asterisk, Vanessa. Asterisk, and Adam? What happened to Adam? I didn't hear from him for almost 1.5 years. Until one day, a rainy Tuesday, someone knocked on my door. I opened it, and there he was. But it wasn't the Adam I had known. It wasn't the spoiled child. It wasn't the man who robbed me. It was someone different. Thin, with dark circles under his eyes, with simple, clean clothes, with the calloused hands of someone who works hard. "Hi, Mom." His voice trembled. "Adam, I know I shouldn't be here. I know I have no right." But his eyes filled with tears. "I needed to see you. I needed to tell you." He broke down. He collapsed right there in my entryway and cried. He cried like he hadn't in years. And I cried too, because he was my son. And despite everything, he was still my son. But I didn't let him in. "Not yet, Adam," I said gently. "You can't come in yet." "No, I know," he said between sobs. "I know. Just wanted to tell you I'm sorry, that I'm working, that I'm changing, that someday, if someday you can forgive me. I want to show you I'm different. Are you in therapy? Yes. For 6 months, twice a week. Are you working honestly? Yes, in a restaurant. And studying at night. I want to finish a master's in business administration so I can be someone better. I looked at him, really looked at him, and I saw something I hadn't seen in years. I saw my son, not the man Vanessa had created. I saw the boy I raised. Adam, I said calmly, I'm glad you're changing for real. But I need time. I need to see that this change is real. Not just words. I understand. Maybe in a few months we can talk? Have a coffee somewhere neutral? His eyes lit up. Really? Really. But slowly, step by step, without rushing. Yes, whatever you say. He wiped his tears. Mom, thanks. Thanks for not closing the door completely. You are my son. You will always be my son. But I need to protect myself. And I need to see actions, not just words. I understand. And I promise I'm going to show you I changed. He walked away in the rain, shoulders slumped, but with something he didn't have before. Hope. That night I sat in my living room, in my quiet house, in my house full of peace, and thought about everything that had happened. Vanessa alone in a hospital, then working in a coffee shop, trying to rebuild herself. Adam working 2 jobs, going to therapy, trying to be better. The natural consequences. I hadn't destroyed them. They had destroyed themselves. And now they were paying the price. Not because I wanted it, not because I had done anything, but because life always collects its debts. Carol was right when she told me that sometimes the greatest love is letting someone fall, because only by falling do they learn to get up. And Adam was learning. Maybe someday, when he had truly changed, when his actions backed his words, we could rebuild something. Not the relationship we had. That one had died. But maybe a new one. One based on respect, on honesty, on clear boundaries. One based on mutual dignity. But that was for the future. For now, I was fine. I was at peace. And that was enough. Because I had learned something fundamental. Justice isn't always fast. But it always arrives. Not with revenge. Not with punishment from your hand. But with the natural consequences of one's own actions. Vanessa called me a crazy old woman. She told me I would die alone. She told me she would win everything. And years later, it was she who ended up alone in a hospital. It was she who lost everything. It was she who faced the void. Not because I did it to her, but because life always collects its debts. And I just had to wait and protect myself and live my life with dignity. The rest karma did. Today, I turned 60. 60 years of life. 60 years of lessons. 60 years of falls and getting up. I am sitting on my patio, the same patio I replanted 2 years ago. The geraniums are blooming, pink, purple, orange. Like a garden reborn from ashes. Like me. I have a cup of coffee in my hands. Fresh coffee with cinnamon, the same one my mother taught me to make. And I am at peace. Complete peace. It's not the peace of someone who hasn't suffered. It's the peace of someone who suffered and survived. 2.5 years have passed since the day I kicked Adam and Vanessa out of my house. 2.5 years that changed my life forever. The Sarah Fund has grown. It's no longer just me. Now we have 3 volunteer lawyers, a psychologist, and we have helped 42 women. 42 women who were where I was, trapped, manipulated, lost in houses that stopped being homes. And each of them found their way back to themselves. Last week, one of them visited me. Her name is Patricia. She is 55 years old. Her story was similar to mine. An adult son living with her, a daughter-in-law treating her like a servant, years of emotional abuse. She came to my door crying a year ago without knowing what to do. And last week she arrived smiling. Mrs. Anderson, she told me, I got my house back. I got my life back. And it's all thanks to you. It wasn't thanks to me, I told her. It was thanks to you. You had the courage to say enough. But you showed me the way. You showed me I wasn't crazy, that I had a right to my own dignity. Those words filled me more than any money, more than any material thing, because that was my legacy. Not the house, not the savings, not anything I could touch. It was the hope I gave to other women. My relationship with Adam has changed. It's not what it was. It will never be what it was again. And that's okay. After that rainy afternoon when he appeared at my door, we started talking slowly, with care. First, it was a monthly coffee at a neutral restaurant. I arrived, he arrived. We sat, talked for an hour. At first, it was awkward. There was so much pain, so much history. But little by little, we began to rebuild something. Not the mother-son relationship we had. That one had died. But something new, something more honest, something based on mutual respect. Adam continued in therapy. He's been going for almost 2 years now. He tells me about what he learns, about how he is changing his patterns. Mom, he told me 2 months ago, my therapist made me see something. I always sought external validation, first from you, then from Vanessa. I always needed someone to tell me I was enough, and that's why I lost myself. He was right. And now? I asked. Now I am learning to validate myself, to know that I am enough without needing someone else to tell me. Those words gave me hope. Hope that he was really changing. Not for me, not to win me back, but for him. He finished his master's. Now he works as a manager at a medium-sized company. Nothing glamorous. But it's honest work. Work that gives him dignity. He lives in a small but clean apartment. I visited him once. Just once. It was tidy, with few things, but with photos. Photos from when he was a boy, photos of me, photos of Robert, and a photo of the 3 of us at the beach. The same photo I saved from the garage. When I saw it, my eyes filled with tears. I keep it in my living room, Adam said softly, to remember who I want to be. The boy I was, the man my dad would have wanted me to be. We hugged that day for the first time in years, and I cried. I cried for everything lost and for everything we were rebuilding, but he doesn't live with me, and he will never do so again. That is my rule, my boundary, and he respects it. I understand, Mom, he told me. This is your house, your sanctuary, and I lost the privilege of being here, and that's okay, because you deserve your peace. Exactly, because I learned something fundamental in these years. Loving someone doesn't mean destroying yourself for them. You can love from a distance. You can love with boundaries. You can love and still protect yourself. Adam comes to visit me every 2 weeks. We sit on this patio. We drink coffee. We chat. Sometimes we talk about the past. Sometimes about the present. Sometimes just about the weather. And that's okay, because we don't need to fill every silence with words. Sometimes silence is enough. And Vanessa, I haven't seen her again since the hospital. But I know about her. Megan tells me from time to time. Vanessa is still in therapy. She's been going for 1.5 years. She works at that coffee shop, lives with her mom still, but now she pays rent, contributes. It's a small change. But it's a change. Megan told me something 3 months ago that surprised me. Vanessa talks about you sometimes in therapy. She says you were the first person to set a real boundary with her, that you showed her that actions have consequences. Interesting. It wasn't my intention to teach her anything. I was just protecting myself. But in protecting myself, I also gave her a lesson no one else had given her. The lesson that you can't take what isn't yours, that you can't manipulate without consequences, that life always collects its debts. I don't know if Vanessa really changed. It's not my responsibility to know. But I hope so. Not for me. For her. Because living full of emptiness like I saw her in that hospital, I don't wish that on anyone. Carol is still my best friend. We see each other every week. Sometimes more. Last month we went to Napa Valley together, a girls' weekend. Just the 2 of us. We sat in a spa, got massages, ate well, laughed. You know what I admire most about you, Carol told me while we drank herbal tea in the hotel garden. What? That you found yourself. Many women our age lose themselves. They stay in the pain. They stay being victims all their lives. But you, she smiled at me. You got up. And not only that, you helped others get up too. Her words moved me. I don't always feel strong, I admitted. Sometimes it still hurts. Sometimes I still cry for what I lost. And that's okay. The pain doesn't disappear. We just learn to live with it, to carry it differently. She was right. The pain didn't disappear, but it no longer controls me. My sister Betty came to visit last month. She stayed a whole week. One night after dinner, we were sitting here on the patio under the stars with the sound of crickets. "Sarah," she said, "do you ever regret it?" "What?" Kicking Adam out. Being so radical. I thought about it. I had thought about it many times. Sometimes I wonder if I could have done things differently, I admitted. If I could have been softer, more understanding. But then I remember. What? I remember the woman I was before. The one who cleaned and stayed silent. The one who annulled herself. The one who lived to serve others. And I ask myself, if I hadn't done what I did, would that woman be alive today? Betty looked at me, and I think not. I think if I had continued like that, I would have lost myself completely. I would have died inside, maybe even physically. So, you don't regret it? No, I said firmly. I don't regret it. I did what I had to do, what I needed to do to survive, to live, and it was true. I didn't regret a single day. Last week, Mr. Henderson, my boss, called me into his office. "Sarah, I want to propose something to you." "What is it?" "I'm going to retire next year, and I've been thinking about who should take my place as senior partner." He looked me straight in the eyes. "I want it to be you." I was speechless. "Mr. Henderson, you are the most honest, hard-working, and capable person I know. And also," he smiled, "you have demonstrated a strength few have. If you could rebuild your life after everything you went through, you can do anything." I accepted. Not because I needed the money, not because I needed the title, but because I deserved recognition. I deserved for my work to be valued. I deserved to shine. Last night, before sleeping, I was reviewing the letters I received from the Sarah Fund. One of them made me cry. It was from a 70-year-old woman. Her name is Linda, Mrs. Anderson, I am 70 years old. All my life I was told that family comes first, that a good mother endures everything, that sacrifice is love. And I believed it. I put up with an alcoholic husband for 40 years. I put up with children who stole from me, with grandchildren who disrespected me, and I thought that was how it had to be. Until I heard your story. A friend told me. She said, "Linda, listen to this. This lady did what you should have done years ago." And when I heard your story, I cried. I cried because I saw myself in you. I cried because I understood that I too deserved dignity, that I too deserved peace. And 2 months ago, with the help of your fund, I was able to get my grandchildren out of my house. I was able to set boundaries. I was able to say, enough. And now, for the first time in 70 years, I live for me. Thank you, Mrs. Anderson. Thank you for showing me that it is never too late, that even at 70 years old I can choose myself. With all my love, Linda. I read that letter 3 times, and I understood something. My story wasn't just mine. It was all the women's who ever felt invisible, who ever believed that loving meant disappearing, whoever thought it was too late to change. And if my pain, my story, my decision could help even just one woman, then it had all been worth it. This morning, on my birthday, I woke up early. I made my cinnamon coffee. I sat on this patio and thought about the whole road traveled. I thought about the Sarah of 3 years ago, the one who cleaned, the one who stayed silent, the one who made herself small so others could be big. That Sarah no longer exists. And I don't miss her, because in her place a new Sarah was born, one who knows her value, one who knows how to set boundaries, one who understands that self-love isn't selfishness, it's survival. Adam arrived an hour ago with a small cake with a candle in the shape of the number 60. "Happy birthday, Mom," he told me with a smile. I invited him in, but only to the patio, not into the house. Some boundaries remain. We cut the cake, we talked, we laughed, and in a moment, He looked at me and said, "Mom, I know I will never be able to completely repair what I did. I know, but I want you to know that you saved me." Me? Yes, when you kicked me out, when you showed me that my actions had consequences. You saved me from myself. Because if you had kept allowing it, I never would have changed. I would have become a horrible man. And you had the courage to stop me. His words touched my soul. I didn't do it to save you, Adam. I did it to save myself. I know. But by saving yourself, you also saved me. We hugged, and in that hug I felt something I hadn't felt in years. It wasn't the unconditional love of before. It was something more solid, more real. It was mutual respect. Now, as the sun sets over my patio, as I watch the geraniums sway in the wind, as I hold this cup of coffee that has gone cold, I think of you. Yes, you, the person listening to this story. Maybe you are in a similar situation. Maybe you have a child who disrespects you, a daughter-in-law who manipulates you, a relative who steals from you, a life that is no longer yours. And maybe like me, you have told yourself 1,000 times, asterisk, but it's my family. But I can't abandon them. But what will people say? Asterisk. And I want to tell you something that took me 60 years to learn. Family isn't who shares your blood. Family is who respects your soul. You can love someone from a distance. You can wish them the best without destroying yourself in the process. You can choose yourself. And that doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you selfish. It doesn't make you cruel. It makes you wise. Because wisdom isn't in enduring. Wisdom is in knowing when to let go. And if after listening to my story there is one single thing I want you to remember, it is this. It is never too late to choose you. It doesn't matter if you are 50, 60, 70, 80. As long as you have life, you have the option to change, to set boundaries, to say enough, to live with dignity. And yes, it's going to hurt. There will be tears. There will be lonely nights. There will be people who judge you. But on the other side, there is peace. There is freedom. There is life. A life that is yours, completely yours. And when you reach the end of your days, you won't regret having been strong. You will regret not having been so sooner. If my story helps just one woman open her eyes, it will have been worth it. If just one person decides to choose themselves after listening to me, all the pain will have made sense, because that is my legacy. It's not a house. It's not money. It's not material things. It is the hope I leave with other women. The hope that yes, you can. That yes, there is life after pain. That dignity is always worth it. The sun has set. The stars are starting to come out. Adam left an hour ago. He hugged me before leaving. I love you, Mom. I love you too, son. And it was true. I loved him, but I also loved myself. And that was the most important thing. I get up from my chair, pick up my empty cup, walk toward my house, my sanctuary, my peace. I enter and lock the door, turn on the lights, and smile. Because tomorrow is a new day. A day full of possibilities. A day in which I will continue being who I chose to be. Sarah Anderson. Woman, mother, survivor, and above all, owner of my own life. Thanks for listening to me until the end. If this story touched your heart, subscribe and hit the notification bell to hear more stories of women who transformed their pain into wisdom. Every day, a woman, a life lesson. Share this story with someone you love. Sometimes a story like this can change a whole day. God bless you, and until next time.